And welcome to JFP Sports, where fantasy and sports talk lives. You see, this is what happens when D. Nanis takes a sick day. Because now I got Ricky P and I back in the studio. But we got Ricky P doing two things at once. And I shouldn't put that pressure on him. I shouldn't.
Yeah, no, this is
New, just the two.
I don't know. I'm not used to doing both
multitasking.
Things. Yeah, but what do we even?
I used to get yelled at about that.
Well, what do we even have him on the payroll for if he's not gonna?
Sick
all right,
day.
but that's another.
Could you imagine there's a sick day in this business?
Right.
So moving forward, this is JFP Sports, where fantasy and sports talk lives, and Ricky and I are here for another week of sports. Rick, we're heading into week 14 of the NFL season. People out there, fantasy community, it's week 15, I'm sorry, playoff time. What could we expect? People, they're in the second round of their playoffs. If you had a bye like you and I, you have the Thursday night thriller, LA Chargers versus Kansas City Chiefs. Tell me about it.
Yeah,
what are you excited for?
Yeah, this has got a lot of fantasy implications. This has to be the biggest game of the season up to this point for a multitude of reasons. We can take a look at the San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers, and we can say, from a fantasy perspective, what do you have with Melvin Gordon? Is he in or is he out? Austin Eckler is doubtful. That's putting it nicely. He's out.
He's out. Right.
Austin Eckler's out with a stinger. He's also in the concussion protocol, so you can forget about that. If you have Justin Jackson, I'd consider playing him. First of all, if you don't have him and he's available, try to pick him up. That's first thing.
Right.
If you can pick him up, I think you need to be careful with Melvin Gordon. I would not play him if Melvin Gordon is active. If he's not active, then he's full go. I think he's got the potential in this type of matchup to be an RB1 this week.
Because
with the porous Kansas City run defense.
Is it because of more of the volume, or is it more because Kansas City is just terrible on defense?
I think it's both. When we look at, one of the things we talked about, I said James Conner is a guy to watch for at the week one.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the reason I say that is because Steeler running backs are productive. We saw that with D'Angelo Williams when he filled in for Le'Veon Bell. That's a good system. This is a good system for running backs. The Chargers.
You could even say the Kansas City system as well.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the things. Yeah, I'd rather have someone who's might be second tier in a better system who looks to feature those type of players versus guys that, for example, we talked about like Royce Freeman in the past. We've had conversations years ago about Monty Ball. He was carry. He couldn't do anything. But you want to be in the right system. So I think this is a plug and play. If Gordon is active, stay away.
Of course.
If Gordon's inactive, it will be Justin Jackson the entire game. 90% of the snaps.
Right. Let me go against your thought here because I feel I am an owner of Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. Now, Jackson got into the end zone a week and a half ago, off of pure luck. It was just a draw play. Nobody was there in the end zone. That 3 points. But as an Austin Eckler owner, I've noticed when I play him and I start him like that London game weeks ago when Gordon was out, I feel he doesn't get more than 9 or 10 points in a PPR league. Right. Being the number one running back, I believe they just entrust Phillip Rivers so much. They want to throw, and throw some more. Yeah. You have big Antonio Gates over the middle. I think it's just a product of having so many weapons. Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin.
Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
They are weapons galore. I would say third most in weapons to the Rams and the Chiefs. It's, there's weapons galore on that.
I'll throw the Patriots into that conversation, too.
Okay, I would say the Chargers have better weapons. But I feel that, with Rivers, it's just, you just never know. And I think we're just going based off, I would say 70% more because Kansas City is just so bad on defense.
Well, I also think, look, I don't even know.
Was that a product of Austin Eckler not being a traditional RB where he could go through the tackles like a Christian McCaffrey?
I think that's more. I think he's
on the
a Christian
side.
McCaffrey, but he's not as good. Christian McCaffrey, you can legitimately give 15 carries and he'll run it through the tackles. Austin Eckler is not that type of player. We also have to remember Austin Eckler is getting 25-30% of snaps when Melvin Gordon's healthy, maybe that much. So he's somewhat productive. He's fresh-legged all the time. Now you're asking him to pass protect. and do these certain other things.
More
he's always
than what
on the
he's
field.
used to.
Right. Justin Jackson came out of Northwestern being a third down back. So I'm not saying Justin Jackson's better. I think if Austin Eckler's out, if Melvin Gordon doesn't play, they have no other choice but to let Justin Jackson just have the whole game. Plus, he also doesn't have any reps in terms of he's completely fresh. Completely fresh. What does he have, like 10 carries all season?
So the conclusions I draw to this topic before we move on is just that, to me, the comparison is not so much that Justin Jackson is better, but more because he's more traditionalist in the running back game of pass protecting and being an every down because he did it in college.
Right, yeah, and again, he's run through the tackles. Northwestern is one of those, I watch college football more than probably the pros. It's one of those systems, it's a pro system, run through the tackles, run, play action pass. He can do all these things. If we transition to the Chiefs, it's kind of similar. We have another situation there. We obviously know the Kareem Hunt stuff. He's obviously no longer on the team. Spencer Ware finished out the game, but he was banged up. Damian Williams actually vultured 2 touchdowns from him. A 1-yard run in the 4th and 3 play that Mahomes threw, who was magnificent once again against that Ravens defense. If we take a look, you need to pick up Damian Williams also. If Spencer Ware can't go, Damian Williams is the guy. Damian Williams had 2 touchdowns last week.
No Charkandrick West.
No.
I know I had mentioned that before, but just for the viewers.
Yeah, there is no Charkandrick West. You don't need to worry about him. Look, if they even trusted Charkandrick West, they would do
already
something.
Implemented in
right, because
system.
he's been there before and he's actually done some good work there already. But C.J. Anderson was just dropped by the Raiders today, and they're already thinking about trying to pick up C.J. Anderson after he came in for a workout.
Good, note.
Right, so look, it's Spencer Ware or it's Damian Williams, and it's kind of ironic. The Chiefs use a 1-back system. That's all they do. They don't like to use multiple backs. So if you get Spencer Ware, if you have him, just keep out. He should. I think he's going to play him if he can. So it's, we were talking about this before. Someone like me, I have 4 running backs. They're all banged up except for Dalvin Cook, who I don't really want to use.
Right.
So I'm in a tough situation.
John DeFilippo on his way out.
Right, which may actually lead to the fact they're going to run the ball a little bit more. That's a team that really wants to run the ball and play defense. So look, moral of the story, I think there are going to be points on the board Thursday between Mahomes and Rivers. Both guys are working with backup running backs or a banged-up Melvin Gordon, even if he is healthy. So I think we're going to see points, and those two are going to go shoot it out.
Okay. So, Rick, moving forward, before we move to the future, let's reflect a little bit on the past. And this past weekend was a wild weekend. I would say it was upset weekend of the year, Week 14. I mean, you had Oakland beating Pittsburgh. Oh, my God. Then you had the miracle in Miami against New England with 2 seconds on the clock. This is why I don't put offensive players in the backfield, my friend, because when it happens and say a Julio Jones, Gronkowski has to make a play, what happens? He gets into the end zone. And the third one, Amari Cooper going off crazy against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, let's break them all down. Let's break them all down. Which one do you want to start with?
Oh, let's start with Oakland.
I think they all have good storylines.
Let's start with let's start with the earlier game, Miami and New England.
Okay.
2 seconds on the clock. New England looks like they have it in hand, and it's just a basic drag route over the middle to, I believe it was Devontae Parker. And then he laterals it to Kenyon Drake, and he just takes it the distance.
No, it's actually Stills to Parker.
Oh, Stills to Parker.
Because there were only 2 laterals.
Stills to Parker to Drake.
And he went the whole way.
And Drake does Stanford College, 1980, whatever.
Or when the Miami did it to Duke.
Yes.
In college football.
So very college play that was taken out of the book there. And, that you just have to tip your hat because that doesn't happen. The percentages of that happening is probably 5-10%
I think they had
at most.
0.3% chance to win. So that means out of 1,000 times that play works
never
3 times.
Right.
Which we could equate to never.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we'll chalk it up as. Patriots, I don't feel bad for them.
Well, I do have, before we move on, what is Rob Gronkowski doing back there? Because if you're at the 50...
And he's hurt.
No, right. They got to use super glue to tape the guy, to make sure he's okay. But what I'm going to say, if Rob Gronkowski is back there for the Hail Mary, why? Ryan Tannehill at that point, they're about 70 yards away. Ryan Tannehill can't throw it there. He can't throw it 70 yards. So You want guys that can actually tackle and play safety. If there's a safety back there, that's not happening. We could promise you that Kenyon Drake would have been tackled. So, look, that should have never happened anyway. They should have, we kind of see these plays. They don't go get the ball. They don't go. They kind of wait for laterals, and that's what you get as a result.
Okay, moving forward to the next game, we had Pittsburgh in the black hole, and they were without James Conner, the Terminator, and they looked very flat. And you had Big Ben get knocked out. You had Josh Dobbs come in, and
who clearly can't play.
You know what I always ask myself, Rick? I'm like, you have these big quarterbacks that you invest money in. Why doesn't anyone invest in the backup like the Saints did with Teddy Bridgewater? Why don't people have that insurance policy of if Big Ben goes down, Pittsburgh's season is over. If Tom Brady goes down, New England's season is over. If Drew Brees goes down, Carson Wentz goes down, the Eagles and the Saints still have a chance like they did a la last year.
Right.
So my question to you is, how could Pittsburgh go farther with this? Your starter gets knocked out, and now you have to play with Josh Dobbs, who can't be accurate whatsoever. I mean, he could barely hand it off to Stephen Ridley.
Big Ben came back.
He came back, but there was chances to put more points on the board. It should have never gotten to that. That's what I'm trying to say. But I feel like it was just a big letdown, and historically, Pittsburgh never does well on the West Coast, if in Oakland.
No,
if not in Oakland.
There was a stat that I saw from Elias today. When Steelers are on the road as 9+ point favorites, they're only 6-5 straight up in the whole game. The rest of the league is 52-10, I think, over the last 5 years. So it goes to show that when they should romp teams, especially on the road, like this porous Raider team, they don't do anything. Look, the thing I take away is what is Big Ben doing? He and maybe you didn't think about, maybe you didn't factor this in as much or whatever. He gets hurt. They're dominating. Meanwhile, they're doing everything right. He comes back to the sideline and Josh Dobbs is still playing. So I'm thinking, all right,
maybe they want to be precautionary,
right. Okay.
And I think they just took the Raiders lightly.
Okay, sure, fine.
They're 2-in, whatever.
I'm sure it's a combination of all of it, but now we look at them, and then Big Ben comes back. So what it says to me is you wanted to play hero ball. You wanted to let Josh Dobbs just maintain it until they took the lead.
Until you need him.
And then, until you need him. But if you're not healthy to play, don't come back. If you are healthy to play when you can play. Right. I don't understand what that is. And it goes to show the dysfunction. You know when the dysfunction started? When Le'Veon Bell didn't report week 1 and you have everyone. Right. This team, we could look at Mike Tomlin just like we look at Mike McCarthy.
I think he's going to be gone.
And say, this team is vastly, underachieving. It's got to be the quarterback who goes or the coach that goes. You're not getting rid of the Hall of Fame quarterback. You have to get rid of Tomlin.
It's easier to get rid of one guy than 50.
Look, Le'Veon Bell didn't show up. James Conner has done admirably. Right. Last year, you have Antonio Brown in the playoffs. He's going on Facebook Live. Has Mike Tomlin saying, don't let any of this out to social media. I mean, this team is the most...
Dysfunction.
This team and the Giants are very similar. You know what the difference is? The Giants aren't good. The Steelers are good.
Yeah, and that's the problem because...
And both underachieve.
Dysfunction can take over the greatness of a team. Moving forward, you had Philly in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, and Amari Cooper. If he wasn't worth a first-round pick, he was this past Sunday because he was straight balling. And it just reminded me of Thanksgiving Day when he was balling. But this was just on another level, and this guy was worth everything Dallas paid for because that's what they needed. They needed a Dez, Pez, Bryant,
if you're going with the Pez, you needed an athletic dispensary as the Pez.
And he wasn't.
I think
anymore.
That's what it was. Pez.
I mean, the guy twisted his Achilles in practice before he even got on the field.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But going back to Amari Cooper, Cooper's Town. I mean, he just went off 50 points in fantasy. He won somebody's week in my league and probably many other leagues. 90%, I would say.
Yeah.
Dallas has the defense. Dallas has the run game. They have their receiver now.
Where do you rank them in terms of the NFC? Because
they are a sleeper for me.
Define sleeper. Chicago's better. Chicago and Dallas play very similarly. They like to
I would
go
take
to defense.
Chicago over
I would
them
take Chicago
because of the creativity of Nagy.
I also like Mitch Trubisky much more than I like Dak Prescott.
I agree with you, and I also love Khalil Mack coming on the edge.
Khalil Mack is the second best defensive player. I'll say Aaron Donald is number one.
I totally agree with you. That's why they get paid the money they get.
But people say like elite defenses, and what is an elite defense? To me, when a defense can score, like legitimately put points up on the board, that's when you're elite. Like we coming into the season, we said the Rams are going to be elite because they had Peters, and it seems like it might be names that aren't working out. Chicago, you have to legitimately worry about them scoring on you. They picked Jared Goff off, 4 times? We haven't seen him look that bad since his rookie year when Jeff Fisher was there. When Sean McVay comes out and says, I was awful, that's how you know it's that Chicago team. Look,
I think a lot of it played with.
That's a different.
They're playing
animal.
in mud. They're playing in the outdoors. I mean, yes, Coliseum is outdoors, but also
it'll be nice weather if they have to go there.
Right, that's what I mean. We're not playing in 75, a little bit of wind and sun. We're playing in rain, snow, and cold. And it was 24. It was 30 degrees, feeling like 24. Al Michaels said at the start of the game.
Well, let's think about it like this: out of all the teams that travel, so say you have to travel, which I think Chicago travels the best.
Yes, because
and Dallas also travels the best because you run and you play defense.
And time of possession. Right. That's how you win. Keep the ball away from Breeze, Goff. Give me a third team. I can't off the top of my head. I'm going to say Kirk Cousins in the NFC.
The Vikings?
Yeah, maybe they would make it
fifth.
As a wild card.
Well, they should be, only because...
No, but I'm saying like if the Bears had a home game and the Vikings go to them...
Well, realistically, the Saints and the Rams will be the 1 and 2, depending on how that finishes out. And I think the Bears and Cowboys are fighting for 3.
Yeah,
for
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Who's right now? 6 is the Vikings, and I think they'll hold on.
I think they'll hold
virtue
on.
because
5 is
there's nobody else, right? And that's Seattle. And Seattle, look, Seattle
could go either way.
Seattle can go. Seattle is Chicago and Dallas, but a lesser version of them. They like to run the ball, and their defense isn't as good. But
I would say,
their best
evident as Monday night, I think Minnesota's the worst one out of all.
Right, but they'll beat out Washington and they'll beat out Philly.
Their line is just terrible.
Right, and I also don't think. Look, a lot of people said, "Well, Kirk Cousins, is a failure." Well, but what I will say is, you didn't bring him there to go out and win the big game by himself. Last year,
of course not.
But what they needed.
But he's getting $84 million.
No, right, and he's got to play better, and I think he'll admit he's got to play better. But when we look at this team, this was a dominating defense with a dominating run game last season, and they lost to Philly. Their last 6 quarters of that season, they were abysmal on defense, including that Saints second half and the Eagles. That whole game, they were abysmal. But you brought him in there as an upgrade over Case Keenum and Sam Bradford. You didn't bring him in there to be Aaron Rodgers. Right. So, look, $84 million is a lot, but you knew what you were getting in Kirk Cousins. If this was the same defense and the same run game, then I'm with you, but it hasn't been. Dalvin Cook's been banged up.
Terrible.
And that defense has been a nightmare of what they've been in the past. So,
no, I absolutely agree with you. So moving forward, we're going to do a little Jets recap. We're going to do a little local recap. We're going to start with
something
the Jets.
To smile about.
Something to smile about. But you know what? I'm not smiling, Rick, because
my draft pick.
Dad's jumping up and down. All the old Jet fans
are
jumping.
Before we start, is this the first time the Jets and the Giants have won in the same week? I would assume that it is.
In a while, probably, yeah. I can't remember. It's not relevant.
Right, because they don't win. Right, the teams don't win. What are the chances they're going to do it?
But
both on the road.
But
both on the road.
I know it's good to win and have that camaraderie, but at the same time, what is it doing for the Jets? It's hurting them, and you're not going to keep Bowles anyway. Let's just be realistic.
Well, you're talking from a fan perspective. It's no good. Obviously, the players are going to go out there and try to win.
Well, yeah, it's their job. But
right
now you probably costed yourself a slot. Sunday. You probably costed yourself a slot because now the Raiders won. And if the Raiders get one more...
But San Francisco also won too.
Right.
No one has 2 losses anymore.
Right. So now you're playing with 3 and 4. And I think the Jets will finish 4 and 12 anyway. But still, it would have been all right to finish 3 and 13 and you get that number 1 pick. And now you're in play for Nick Bosa, the pass rusher that you've been missing since John Abraham.
Right.
What's your thoughts?
I think this goes to show with the healthy Darnold that they actually maybe could have been a 7-8 win team this season.
Of course. But I feel like he's regressed. Is it me? Or I
no,
feel like
I don't.
Sam
Well,
Darnold,
no. I never said he was that good.
No, I think he's fine. I think he just needs to be with the right coordinator. It's like Mitchell Trubisky. He has Nagy. All these guys have somebody. Goff has McVay. He does not. He has Jeremy Bates.
Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback of the draft class
right now.
No,
it sucks to say, but yeah.
And I said that. No, but I said that going into it.
You didn't like fucking freaking Big 12.
No.
I gotta watch my mouth. Freaking Big 12 quarterbacks. You didn't like Big 12 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but he's different. He's different.
Come on, Rick.
No, he's different. And the reason I say he's different is, and you're right, I don't. He's not. He's more accurate. He's the best Big 12 quarterback that we've seen in a long time. I mean, I can make the argument that Kyler Murray, I think, would actually be better than him. Oh God. And he's going to play baseball, but Bryce Petty, Mason Rudolph, some of these other guys, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to, look.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, with that, I mean, the Jets, they do get a big win in Buffalo. Gave fans salvage about something. I'm just bringing up devil's advocate that now you've probably heard of the draft slot. But moving forward, they do have the Houston Texans Saturday night. First of all, I hate Saturday night games. Number one.
Well, there's no college football. That's what happens when there's no college football.
Puma's out. Number two, I'm not looking at my phone. And now it messes up my whole thing. So,
your whole thing? What whole thing?
Of going out. I gotta go out on Saturday, and now that I love the sport, I gotta glue my eyes while I'm having a beverage.
Well, you could just not watch the game and check your phone.
Yeah, nah, that doesn't work for me. But anyway, so they visit the Jets visit Houston. They go.
It's a 4:30 game. You can go out after it.
Yeah, I suppose. And I start early. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Right. But the J.J. Watt, the J.V. and Clowney. You have Deshaun Watson on the other side. I
think this is a trap game.
You think so?
I think this is a trap game. The reason I say, if this was in Houston, the Jets might as well just not take off.
No, it is in Houston.
No, it's not. It's home.
It is?
They're here in New York.
No.
Yeah.
Stop
I guess Dean Annis gave you the wrong schedule.
Jesus, he's so sick. He's on meds and he's giving me the wrong schedule.
Yeah, they're home. They're 4:30.
Oh, you're
start.
right. They are at the MetLife.
I think that does this change? So knowing what you know, does that change in terms of it being a trap game?
No, I think they're still gonna get blowed out of the building. Sorry, Gwen and Jeff. They're one of our season ticket holders, so they'll be there Saturday. But I might have 5 beverages by the end of this game. But I don't see it any good because who the hell is stopping Deshaun Watson and Nook Hopkins? I want to see Tremaine Johnson on Nook Hopkins. I'm gonna laugh. This guy's gonna have like 40 points in fantasy.
Who, DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, if you have Hopkins, it should be a must start. Like literally, I'm scared because I'm playing DeAndre Hopkins. I hope like he just has the flu and doesn't get off the bus. But yeah, otherwise, realistically, I think it's going to be a bad night for the Jets. And I think what will kill them more is just the running ability of Deshaun Watson. It's like catching a butterfly. And I believe he'll just obliterate them. And it'll get to the point where we'll be playing. Is Tom Savage still on the team? Who's the backup for Houston?
Might be.
Yeah, you'll see Tommy Savage by
You think it's going to be that bad?
I think it's going to be that bad. I'm sorry. It just smells like it.
I don't.
You know which game I think the Jets would win? You're going to call me crazy.
The Patriots?
Week 16, the Packers. I don't know.
Well, why is that so crazy? Both teams have like 5 wins.
Yeah.
Why is that so crazy?
Because it's Rodgers on the other end and all that. But I just feel like it'll be bad weather. Maybe it'll be like raining or something.
But they play on the turf. Yeah. Bad weather. They're not used to that in Green Bay?
No. It's not that. It just feel like, they do throw a lot. So I feel like time of possession, all that. But when we get to that, one at a time. But I feel like this is just a obliteration. But if you feel like it's a trap game.
I think it's a trap game. I'm not saying they don't win.
Your lips to God's ears.
I'd be very careful. I don't know what the spread is. We can get Dean Annis to look on that. But I would say I'd be very, very, very careful of taking
Dean Annis is sick, bro. I know you want to pretend that he's here.
He's got a job to do. But he's got a job to do.
I looked it up. It's -6, bro.
All right, fine.
-6,
I'd be very careful.
I would take the plus.
I'd be very I'd be careful.
Maybe
right.
if I had a beverage right now, I would take the plus.
Well, look. See, this is what I don't understand about with the rest of Jet fans. You want them to win at the beginning of the season, win, Now.
Yeah, but now I want him to get the draft pick.
Right. Well look, these guys, but they're developing.
I'm in the minority. There's some people that like just need them to win. Like, I'm not about that.
If you need them to win, you have other things to worry about. You don't need
your No, but you would like them to win because it makes you feel better. But at the same time, no, I'm playing for the future. And for me, I think coming from a younger person's standpoint, I'm trying to build this team for the future. I want that number 1, number 2, top 3
Well,
pick.
You're not getting that.
At this point, I think I could see them picking 3 again.
There's no way they're picking 3.
I think they're going to pick 3.
They already have too many wins. If we take a look at the bottom tier teams, I'll give you all the teams. Jaguars are 4-9. The Browns are 5-7.
The Jets are 4-9 too. They lost head to head, so that's automatically we.
Okay, fine. The Bills are also 4-9.
I think the Bills will get another one. I think the Bills will beat Detroit, but go on.
Right. But I'm just saying these are all teams. The Bengals haven't won a game since I don't remember. They're 5-8 right now. So I'm just saying, look, you got to look at teams. And with Jeff Driscoll, they might not win the rest of the season.
Really?
The Falcons are 4-9. The Bucks are 5-8. The Packers are 5-7-1. I'm sure the Packers will finish ahead.
Imagine watching the Cincinnati and Oakland game. Jeez.
The Lions 5-8. The Cardinals 3-10. The Niners 3-10. The Giants 5-8. Look, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We have in the AFC there are 2 other teams with 4 wins, and the Falcons on the other side with 4 wins. So look, I'm not saying they may or may not pick where and what, but I don't know. Let's move on to the Giants.
Yeah, and you had the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley
versus the hapless Mark Sanchez.
Washington Redskins.
It was like 1,000-0 at halftime.
Did you hear that guy Josh Johnson?
He came in.
Yeah, he learned
he was good.
You knew he knew his teammates' names because he played Madden the night before. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that. Well, you know what? I give him a lot of credit because that's very
sounds
smart.
Like me.
No, that's very smart.
I mean, he played Madden the night before. Did it ever cross his mind that he was going to be in a game the next day?
Well, look, the only reason and can we not make the argument he was much more effective?
Absolutely. He was moving, bro.
I think they had 14 points in the last quarter. Now, look, the Jets might have put in their, second and third. Excuse me, the Giants might have put in their second and third stringers, but look, Josh Johnson moved the ball. Josh Johnson's also more talented. He's also more athletic. Yeah. I think the reason they gave Mark Sanchez a call is because he's more similar to Colt McCoy and Alex Smith were. And traditional. And naturally, at least Mark Sanchez took the Jets to 2 AFC title games. But I would start Josh Johnson.
Yeah, let's keep bringing that up. So the Giants, they head into. Jesus, we're like lost without Dean Addis.
I know.
Oh, Tennessee. Tennessee heads into MetLife. So I guess that's a quick turnaround. That's a quick turnaround.
Why? It's a week later. It's on Sunday.
It's a day later.
What's a day later?
The Jets and the Giants play at
the Jets and the Giants. I thought you meant I thought you meant.
Where do we live?
I thought. Well, what are you worried about? The grounds crew? They got paid to switch the field over.
But look at that. They start at 4:30, and then the Giant game is at 1. I'm surprised I haven't heard this on the radio. That's a big deal.
Who?
For the people that work there.
Yeah, I mean they get paid.
I think they need to get paid a little more.
Maybe they get overtime.
Holy moly! No, I'm talking about a realistic standpoint, people. If you're in the
game's over at 8.
Area,
the game's over at 8.
Let's say 8:30. Fine, we'll give it 4 hours.
Okay, fine, 8:30.
Whatever the BS going on. They have until 8:30. As soon as the game's over, till
midnight
to get everything coordinated. Maybe 1 a.m.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
And then you're back. And then you're back there at 8 a.m. Look, hey, but you know this business. It's sports business. Look,
yeah,
you gotta go. You gotta go.
It's a big changeover.
Okay, but what about we look at it last week? Both teams were on the road. You weren't there all weekend.
Yeah, whoever made the schedule is shot.
Well, no, I mean,
but
usually one team's home, one team's on the road,
right?
And it's the same thing with even the Yankees and the Mets. They don't play at the same field.
Why do the Jets and the Giants been playing at the same time?
Well, because neither team is good enough to get flexed into a late game.
No. I'm saying 4:00.
Oh.
I don't know if people.
Well, the Jets and the Titans were 4:30 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Other than that, most of the time the Jets and the Giants have been playing at 1:00 at the same time.
Well, they're 2 East Coast teams. What time do you want them to play at?
One. There used to be a time. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Giants would play at 4, Jets would play at 1, or vice versa. Because the New York market.
Well, the Giants were good, probably.
No, I feel like the networks just don't want to give you the extra game.
What do you mean give you the extra game?
If one
The Jets and the Giants are always on TV together.
No, I understand that. But if one is on at Fox, say the Giants are on at 1, right?
On Fox.
Something has to be on 2, because if the Jets come on at 4, does it not? There should be like a 1 o'clock game. Like, say, if the Chiefs are playing the Steelers or something. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there should be a 1 o'clock time slot.
There's always 3 games on.
Right.
The Jets, the Giants, and a national game, whether that's CBS or whether that's Fox.
I'm trying to say it should really be 4, because think about it.
No, I get what you're saying, but due to blackouts, they'll give you 3 games.
Really
but they've always given us 3 games.
To the metropolitan area.
They've always given us 3 games.
I think they're screwing themselves, because now you're taking the metropolitan
Trust me, they're not. They make a lot of money.
But think about it. I feel like you should have everybody be watching that 1 o'clock, whatever it is, Jets or Giants, and then Giants or Jets at 4. What's the big deal? Lost cause. I can't change anything about it, but it was just something to bring up. So moving on, we have, I felt like doing a little segment on Ricky's Ravens, because I thought that was, other than the Dallas game, was a really good game. The Ravens heading into Arrowhead. I thought that was one of the best games. You had told me, you were selling me on the plus. And you said plus 6.5 was great. And you know what? Ricky was actually had it dead on.
They should have won the game outright.
Absolutely. And I feel like Baltimore took that advantage, like we brought up in the beginning, that game. Kansas City's defense is terrible. And if you get a run game going with Alex Collins and Lamar Jackson, it becomes time of possession. Now it becomes keep away. Now it becomes a game of keep away. It becomes a medieval game of inches of space and of earth. So I feel that the Ravens could have won this game, but it just shows the better team did win, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you were betting, the plus would have been absolutely great. And John Brown got in the end zone.
John Brown, yeah. I mean, yeah, the Ravens wide receivers in terms of fantasy are inconsistent, but the Ravens thoroughly outplayed the Chiefs the entire time. So I don't have anything to say. I love the plus.
Yeah.
Look, the formula was Ravens run the ball, keep time possession. They did everything but stop Mahomes on 4th and 9. And Tyreek Hill picked up like 50 yards or whatever. So,
it is what it
is. And Harrison Butker even gave him a chance at the end of the 4th quarter. We'll have to go to overtime. But, look, it is what it is.
Mahomes, did you see those plays that Pat Mahomes made?
The throw that he wasn't even looking.
Did that solidify him as the MVP? It had to.
Yeah, only because Drew Brees hasn't been himself the last 2 weeks. Right. I mean, at Dallas, I don't even know who he was, and even against the Bucs, he wasn't.
And I feel like people remember what they saw last, and I feel like
that's true too. And that's the same thing with Kyler Murray. We said Tua. Yep. Tua gets hurt, doesn't finish the game. Kyler Murray lights up Texas on his final game.
Wins.
So let's move on to our fantasy starts and sits. I'll start, and I'm going to say Ian Thomas. Ian Thomas is a tight end for the Carolina Panthers. He has been trending up ever since Greg Olsen has been done. 9 catches for 77 yards on 11 targets, I believe. Cam Newton can't throw down the field right now. So when we take a look at the Panthers, I like Ian Thomas to start. I think he's going to have a nice...
Who's your sit, Rick?
My sit is going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Aaron Rodgers, look... I know he had a nice game against the Falcons, but now he's got to go to the Bears. I don't know. Not what I saw Jared Goff doing. Think about it like this. The Bears lost on that week 1 night. Aaron Rodgers came back out of the tunnel and destroyed them in the 3rd and 4th quarter. When Khalil Mack when he first just got there, I think they're going to destroy him this week. So, Bears
Rick,
defense.
So, Rick's start is Ian Thomas, and his sit, Aaron Rodgers. For myself, my start, it's Julian Edelman. The Patriots, they're playing Pittsburgh, I believe in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in Pittsburgh's 3.5-point favorite.
Right. And I believe Pittsburgh's defense, not all that good. Julian Edelman.
Just ask Derek Carr.
He's getting the targets, and you know what? It's playoff time. Go with the consistency. Go with somebody that gets consistent targets, a la Julian Edelman, Keenan Allen.
Yeah. You want those consistency guys.
You want those consistency guys, and Adam Thielen, that's what I was looking for. Those consistency guys, and especially in those PPR guys. So definitely Julian Edelman. And my sit, Dak Prescott. I know it looks very enticing that they are playing a Indianapolis defense, but
on the road, yeah.
On the road, I smell a trap game for Dallas. They just got over. I think they've won 5 in a row, something like that.
Yeah, they're the hottest team in football.
They're due for a loss. And going in to see Luke Oil Stadium, Andrew Luck always brings the luck. I love Frank Wright with that system. I smell a letdown for the Dallas Cowboys, and I believe Dak Prescott doesn't have a good game. I believe it's Ezekiel Elliott, and I believe that, Dallas almost lost that game because Prescott threw 3 picks.
Yeah,
He's been very shaky with the ball and not protecting it whatsoever. I don't like it. Yes, the rushing ability is there, but at the same time, it's just not worth it because he's just not protecting the football, and the turnovers lead to losses.
No, I agree.
Okay, so our 3 wager games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to give you 3. Rick is going to give you 3. I'm going to start off. My 3. I love Baltimore. Tampa in Baltimore -8 right now. I believe they will just demolish them.
They'll eat Jameis Winston up.
And that defense is terrible. Another game, I loved it. I said to Rick, I love Buffalo -2.5.
Against the Lions.
Yeah, and it's a weak Lions team coming into Buffalo. That defense has showed up in the Bills. They actually should have won the game against the Jets, being politically right.
Yeah.
So I like the Bills. That's my second game. And my third game, I love... Oh, my God. Freaking, we got people breaking down the doors to get to us.
Yeah, right.
I love the Saints at Carolina, -6.5. I believe Carolina has so-called, we were talking about it last week. They had to bring in Heineke to throw the Hail Mary. I just believe they're in just a free fall, and I believe it's one of those Saints games where they just run away with it. And I love the -6.5. So the 6.5 with the Saints. I have the Bills -2.5 at home. And then my third game is Baltimore at home -8.
Well, it seems like you took my notes because you have 2 of the 3 games, and we're actually all the same way. The only one you had was the Ravens that I don't have. Okay. I had the other 2. I had the Bills and I had the Saints. So I'm not just gonna give you, our listeners random games. My third game is the Bears.
Okay.
5 at home. They're giving 5.5 to the Packers. They can give 8.5. It doesn't matter to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how the Packers score more than 17, 20 points in this game. I think they will absolutely light up the Packers, especially the way the Packers came back week 1. Not going to let that happen at Soldier Field. So that's my game.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm going to throw in a wild card game for everyone. A fourth one from each of us. I believe Seattle at San Francisco. I think that's a layup. Only -4.5. I think Seattle will blow their doors off. San Francisco is not that good to be getting to +4.5.
Yeah, I'm not. I like it. I don't love it. I wouldn't touch it, but I understand
if you're
where
looking
you're
for
coming
another
from. Yeah,
game,
if you're looking from where you're coming
I believe Seattle is just the better team.
Yeah. No, it's what do we have for this Thursday? Who do you like?
Listen. I won't even come into work just to see this game. This is the game of the year.
Yeah,
Rick
this is the game of the year.
Have been talking about it for weeks. I like LA. I like the Chargers. You might say, Puma, you're crazy. They're going into Arrowhead. What are you talking about? Well, I believe that Andy Reid will rely too much on Patrick Mahomes. And LA, I'll give you the X factor. Joey Bosa. I believe...
Yeah, back healthy.
Yeah, back healthy. Him and Melvin Ingram, tandem. I believe they have the better defense. I believe it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think. Big game for Keenan Allen because that defense is just atrocious. Big game for Justin Jackson. I believe LA takes it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Look, when we...
Is this mostly because of Arrowhead or mostly because you believe in Patrick Mahomes?
Well,
or you just love the Chiefs
I think
overall?
It's both. I think to go to the Chiefs is...
Tough.
Right now, I think that's the toughest place in the AFC.
Than Foxborough.
Right. I think it's much tougher. Don't ask the Ravens how easy it is to go to Foxborough because they've done it consistently. I think the Saints to go there is the toughest place in the NFC. To go to Arrowhead, toughest place in the AFC. I don't know. Like Phillip Rivers, they got behind 23-7 to the Steelers on the road. They can't get behind 23-7 against the Chiefs because they'll just get wiped off the field. The only thing that'll keep the Chargers in my opinion, is that porous defense that Chiefs have. So I think they need to run the Chargers. If they do, if they're going to win, they need to run the ball and play to their defense. Otherwise, Mahomes will slice them up like he did week 1. 4 touchdowns, 258. Tyreek Hill, punt return touchdown. Tyreek Hill still running. Casey Hayward couldn't do anything about it. Right.
So Rick's got the Chiefs at Arrowhead, and I have the LA Chargers. Now, on a side note, this wasn't in our notes, but it came out today on a baseball note. New York Yankees, Metropolitans, and the Miami Marlins. Thinking of a 3-way. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's not true? You think it's false information, fake news?
I think it's...
And for our viewers, so we can explain it, the deal would involve Syndergaard
to the Yankees.
Syndergaard to the Yankees, JT Realmuto to the Mets, and the Marlins would probably surface...
Maybe Nimmo and Andujar.
Right, like a Nimmo, Andujar, maybe Florial. Maybe.
Right. If that's the case, then yeah, go
I'm
do
in.
It.
Because you need that pitcher, and
that would free up Manny Machado. And I think Manny Machado, if that happens, Manny Machado goes from, like, if the Yankees are like 3rd right now, or we'll take a guess, I think he vaults to number 1 right away.
I would definitely go get a Syndergaard jersey as a Yankee fan.
The Mets fans will be sick.
They will be sick to their stomach, but you know what they're getting in return? An actually competent catcher other than named Dorno, Plawecki.
No, it helps out the Mets. They want to get the best at every position. Real Muto's the best at that position. Cano's up there, and Edwin Diaz might be the best at his position.
And what do we always say in fantasy and reality? Because they do somewhat correlate. If you don't try to fleece the other team, it's more viable of happening. And if it works out for both teams and makes sense for both teams, it should happen. Because from a baseball standpoint, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. Forget about it's New York, Miami, whatever. Jeter was in New York. Forget about all of that. If the deal makes sense and best for all 3 teams,
then do it. Yeah.
Then you do it.
Yeah, I don't care. We don't care if it's New York, or New York Mets and the Phillies.
Because
just do what you need to do to make your club better.
Absolutely.
But I think that's it, unfortunately.
That's it, folks. So, as always, please subscribe to JFP Sports on YouTube channel. As always, please add us on IG at JFP Sports. In the great words of Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Till next time, folks.